Everybody. Welcome to the SF Virtual Headbangers Happy Hour. Today we have Kimo Sanborn from Earthcrawler, and he's going to talk about his new single and video for Triple Distilled. Welcome, Kimo.
Thanks. How's it going, everybody? Yeah, so this is actually our first release with our. I mean, he's been in the band for a year, but the whole country's been shut down for almost a year. So, but this is our first release with our new guitar player, um, and we got a couple more songs being worked on right now, but this is our first debut release with him. His name's Chris Lee, and yeah, the idea for the video started out really small, and then it sort of snowballed into what it became, which
Okay,
created a whole lot of work for myself. But
it's incredible. It's incredible. But let's watch it. Let's watch it, and then maybe you could talk about it. And if anyone has any questions, it's just pretty impressive. So thanks for joining today too.
yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Love that video, man.
Thanks,
I got
man.
Incredible.
I got a stupid question here. So I mean, for me, like metal and the sound of it with the dichotomy of 1930s prohibition. What was your influence there?
So the song is actually about me and my singer went on a trip to go see. We went to Sparks, Nevada, to go see Every Time I Die, and we were in this bar, and they were serving picklebacks for like I don't know. I think it was like $5 for a shot of Jameson and a beer, and
Mhm.
I think so we drank them out of their Jameson, and so like the whole song is about our trip that night. And so that's why it's called Triple Distilled. And then so it started off with me doing the artwork, and I did like an olden timey bottle of whiskey. And then as a band, we were talking about what we should do for the video, and our bass player is like, "Oh, you should put us in like a old time prohibition like movie, like The Untouchables." And then I went back and I watched The Untouchables, and I started thinking in my head, I was like, shit, I could probably like literally put it like it started off as a joke, and then I was like, I think I can pull this off. And I was like, if we
So
go to the
cool.
studio, shoot everything on green screen, and and then a lot of work on my end, compositing and doing all the edits. But it ended up as I started piecing all the footage together, it kind of snowballed into what it became. So
So cool. It's
Incredible.
yeah. I mean, I was kind of getting that. I was getting that feel for it. It was almost like I was at the the bucket of blood place.
mhm.
I don't know if that was a bar or not, but
Yeah, no, it's it's one of my favorite gangster movies. Uh,
mhm.
I mean, all-star cast. We'll see if Paramount tries to pull it down for using the footage. But we, we did a whole video with footage from They Live, one of our other videos. Is a lyric video,
Oh, right.
and I think that was Universal. And all they did was they're like, if you make any, if this video gets like a billion hits and you're making money off of it, we're gonna take a slice of that cheese. So
Yeah.
So I think that's more or less how the copyrights work on YouTube these days. Is it's free advertising for people, so they're just like, this video blows up and it gets a whole bunch of hits. We'll just take some of that money.
Cool. I
Yeah,
love that theme,
incredible.
man. I love that theme
So yeah, it's definitely
and the
fun. It was
music
fun.
too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it was fun to go shoot. We shot everything just as me, my girlfriend, and like one other, and the subject. We'd go into the studio, just three of us. So proper social distancing, but yeah, and I tried to shoot everything three cameras at once at multiple angles because I had no idea what angles I was going to need to compass into the movie. So I just figured it would be safe to get as many different angles as possible, and it
It's
seemed to
really,
work
yeah.
out.
Yeah, it's amazing. How many hours do you have a ballpark?
Oh, probably close to 30 hours of editing on that. Mostly compositing, and actually, what takes the longest is because we did some sped up and slowed down footage. uh, what took us the longest is filming. You got to film the performance start to finish so it's easy to sync up. But you film it at half the speed, and then when I speed it back up, everybody's in fast forward but still in sync with the song. So
Mm,
that's doing that for easily 10 to 12 different cameras per person,
wow.
and syncing up all of that is probably what took me the longest. The actual compositing and piecing it all together in After Effects took me probably 2, 3 days
Oh, okay.
of off and on working in between my normal jobs.
Great. What else are you guys up to? Have you been practicing or writing
So
or?
we have yet to actually practice all together as a band. We did those couple of covers. Luckily, with technology nowadays, it's pretty easy to be passing riffs back and forth. But we've got like 4 songs, like 90% done, that we're trying to push through. And we're discussing last night, actually had our little Zoom band meeting, to figure out which song we wanted to concentrate on next and try to shoot for another video in the next month or two.
Wonderful. Oh, we look forward to it. What else have you been up to? You said you've been working and probably from home, or?
Oh yeah, I've been working from home since 2007, so this is nothing new for me. I do motion graphics and visual effects. I'm a contractor, so
I see.
yeah, I typically back in the day when I used to do stuff for like PlayStation, I would have to go into their office because we're dealing with footage that isn't supposed to be out in the world yet. But yeah, but I haven't really had to deal with anything like that for a while. In fact, a lot of my work has been even busier during this whole pandemic because there's a lot of people that normally companies that are doing commercials go out and shoot footage, and then I usually just put some graphics on top of that. But since they can't go out and do film shoots, people are doing full graphic video or full graphic commercials.
Oh wow!
Okay. My work has gone up since this whole thing started.
Wonderful.
So luckily, the editing of this video, the editing part happened right where I had like a 5-day break in between jobs. So it worked out pretty well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, I can imagine you getting tapped for some other. I mean, I don't know if you would have the bandwidth to entertain, doing videos for other bands, but it's. I mean, this one you really knocked it out.
Yeah, I've done. My buddies in Dead End Creek, they just did a Metallica cover, and I cut together their video, but they wanted just a more straight, bare bones, kind of like the 2 minutes to late night style video where it's just everybody filming separately and multi-screen edit, because something like that takes me like 4 hours to do. So not 35. So my band lucks out that I that I'm willing to sit there and do all of this stuff. It's fun for me. It's a nice break from my normal work, but
it's incredible.
It is a lot of work.
I was starting to watch it. Yeah, I was starting to watch it, and then I was like, geez, just like the amount of work. And I'm like, oh man. So I noticed, I was checking earlier this morning because I think I, of course, was excited. So I watched it right away when you posted it. I think you have over like 400 and something views already, and it just came out this morning.
Yeah, I think we're close to 500 now, which is awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
Doing pretty well. We'll see if that keeps an upward trend, hopefully.
Everybody share Kimo's video if you want to. I shared it straight away. So
I think work. I love your work.
Luckily for us, I think even if people don't like the song, it's kind of an entertaining video to watch.
Exactly. Even if you're not into the music, the music's good. I'm like, yeah, the music's good, but the video is just incredible. So even just for that merit, that artistic merit in the work and how creative you got with that. And I love loved your singer like at the end in that shot. I know you called it out earlier on a post, and I didn't notice it the first time around, but then I saw him, so that was cute at the end.
Yeah,
the end shot.
But we were actually discussing last night about how I think people nowadays we don't have the luxury of an actual MTV anymore, where there are a bunch of songs that I like that aren't even really good songs, but I like them because they had awesome videos. And nobody really has that anymore. You have to kind of search. We used to just watch MTV, and then a super cool video come on. You're like, I don't even really like the song, but this video is awesome. And then you end up by default liking that song.
And sometimes introduced to a new band.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And for me, it was actually backwards. I liked the video before I liked the song. It was kind of this weird thing that happened. That's the reason why I was asking about your theme with the video too.
Yeah, well, I was talking about how I'm not a huge Tool fan, but I love the song "Sober," which a lot of people think is one of their worst songs. but I love that song. But I think I would have not liked that song unless they
had it not been for the weird ass video,
for the super cool video. Like there's a bunch of there's a bunch of songs that I love that I grew up with that just I think I liked them because they had awesome videos.
Yeah. and reverse that. A bad video could kind of ruin a song because you're like, that was kind of lame. Because I was, as everyone else was, on a Van Halen kick for the past couple of weeks, right? Watching stuff and listening to stuff. And then I would stumble on a video and, I love the song. And then I saw the video. I'm like, oh, like that, like totally doesn't fit. I can't remember that one Off the Balance, the one that was supposed to be. Yeah, it was off the Balance album. And I think the band was barely in it. It was like this it was kind of weird. So I'm like, that kind of ruins the song. So it could go either way. But yeah, this is really good. And like everyone was saying, and the song is good too, because it was like so much about the video. But no, the song is good too, but it's just so impressive. So yeah, congratulations on a job well done. Every time you come,
Thank you.
It's just like you up the bar by not just like a notch or two. It's just like, like the jump is amazing. So
yeah, well, there's been, we were talking last night about, what are we going to do for the next video, and like, B movie, like B horror movie, or doing like an episode of like Creep Show or something like that. But then the somebody threw out the underwater bar fight scene from Top Secret. And it was
like I need to look that
so
up.
Immediately I started thinking of like, how can we pull that one off?
Might have to look that one up on YouTube after.
Oh.
It's so epic. Like the whole movie is just epic, but that scene itself. I was gonna say I was just gonna segue, and your video that has Through the Ashes, the one that has They Live.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic, man. I just got my daughter into that movie. I might have to show her this video.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite Carpenter films, actually. So good. Plus Roddy Piper's in it. So
I know. Just put the damn glasses on.
So that just says you're a starving artist, because everybody likes everybody else but Roddy Piper. He was the man back then. He was the bad boy. So
he was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. I think that's
same.
Yeah, I'm a big horror movie buff, and since I was a little kid, I've loved Freddy Krueger. And then I think as I grew up, I realized that I like all the horror movie guys that have an attitude and are kind of dicks. Like Freddy's kind of a dick, love him. Like Chucky's kind of a dick, love him. So
part of their appeal, I guess.
Ash is kind of a dick.
Yeah, that's why I like Roddy Piper. I was like, he's the bad guy that everybody loved. So.
Oh my god! Hey, maybe that's our theme for the Halloween episode, like for next week. Like characters who are dicks in horror movies.
I mean,
I'm going to tell you something.
Dicks, but
I'm going to tell you something, Kimo. No kidding. Your song got presented to me about an hour ago when I was doing YouTube.
Right.
Out of freaking random, that was what hit me. That's why when you mentioned the title, I was like, holy crap, that just got presented to me. So YouTube algorithms, man.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Awesome.
It's a great song.
Yeah, well, that's all. Like, I'm the one that makes the videos. I'm super dumb when it comes to like how to hashtag things and do all the social media. So that's Ryan, our singer. He's our social media guy. He's always the one that's like, no, you have to like use these hashtags and make sure it gets on the proper algorithms, and you have to do it this way. And I'm like, I don't just. Can you just text me and I'll copy and paste it? I don't know, man.
Oh, okay, that's right. He does all that. I'm like, what is that dot? What's Ryan up to now? It's like, when I see it, I always have to Google, like, what does it mean when there's a dot before the blah blah? Because he always does he's the guy in the know. Like
he does a bunch of weird stuff. I don't know.
No, it's a good team, right? You do this, and then he could take care of the rest, like the metadata on all the other stuff. So, well, thank you for joining us and sharing that with us. It was
no problem, man.
So impressive, so cool. So cool.
March, that's something that's really changed from when you and I first started doing any of this stuff. I mean, all bands did back in the day was glossies. They'd get a couple bios done and stuff like that.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
I mean, a bunch of posters.
yeah, flyers and stuff like that. And outside of that, there was not much
Yeah.
outside of the industry that a band could do. I mean, and I know everybody was fear and trepidation over the whole digital thing, but I always thought I looked at it as like it's an opportunity for the bands to take everything back themselves and cut the middleman out.
Yeah, and then also just the technology. Everybody, like, we shot this entire video on our iPhone,
That's
right?
crazy.
That's so cool.
And which is another thing. Ryan was like, "We got to make sure we put shot on iPhone on this," and it's
Yeah.
like, get it
Who
out to
knows
Knob
what
Avenue.
happened? Yeah.
But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's just everybody's got the ability to do this stuff in their pockets. And back in the day, you used to have to, find somebody with a nice camera. You got to, we didn't even really light the green screen scene. We were in our studio. We just had the fluorescence on, and luckily it was a flat enough lighting that I was like, it worked. But yeah, I've been researching on ways to kind of up the game using just your iPhones. They make lens attachments for
Yeah.
mobile phones, and like
Hmm.
depth of field adapters and all kinds of stuff, and they're not that expensive. I'm like, oh, you can actually get some really good looking footage out of your phone.
It's
So,
amazing what you can do with it.
Yeah.
and then
What do
like
you?
as I say, in the recording, we tracked all of this stuff ourselves, and then sent all the stems off to our buddy Eric Hill from the Blue Room Studio, and he mixed and mastered everything. And I sent him DIs for guitar, and he can reamp. Whether we use an Axe-Fx tone or if he just reamps it through a DI box and goes through an actual cab. It's nice to be able to change your guitar tone after the fact instead of being kind of stuck with what you already have. We can start mixing the drums and go, oh, you know what? This guitar tone doesn't really work in the mix. Let's try to reamp it with something else that has a little more of the frequencies that we need. And it's a super cool process nowadays to be able to do that, and without ever even stepping foot in the actual studio, just
It's incredible.
doing it all
Actually,
from home.
that would be another good theme, and would love to have you back, Kimo, talking about kind of technology and the recording and like what you're talking about now. Just
I know we
go
don't.
a little bit more.
Jimmy's not here to be the old man who
Oh
only
yeah, he's
loves
anti.
tubes.
Oh,
I
I
love
was
tubes
gonna ask,
and I love vinyl.
I was gonna ask, can I geek out for a second and talk about like digital versus analog?
Oh yeah,
Because I
definitely.
literally
Sure.
just bought a Helix, and it just showed up yesterday, and I was dorking with it at 3 o'clock this morning. I mean, like, what's your impression of that versus the
So
old boxes?
I've used the Helix Stomp briefly, and I played with the Kempers. With the Kempers sound great, but they're not. For me, like the Fractal, the Axe-Fx is just so much easier for the process that we use, especially because we do a lot of when we play live, we're all running Fractal, and the laptop that our drummer's using for his click track is doing all of our patch switches for us. Everything's automatic. Um, as long as the drum, it all falls on the drummer as long as he doesn't fall off the click, because then we'd all be screwed. But but yeah, it's we can automate everything, and so all we have to do is worry about our performance on stage, uh, and we get a really consistent sound because everything's DI, and sound guys love it now. We have a rig, we have our laptop rig that goes right next to the drums, and it's got a snake that we just give the sound guy, and we're like, here, plug these into your stage box, and you have uh, clean signals for all of us except for the drums. Uh, so it makes it super easy. But I like to I like to tinker around with all the different effects and all the different amps, and the ability to have having a Fractal to be able to change amps and heads and cabs in the middle of a song. To have that ability where you're like, oh, right here, we're going for a more Van Halen tone, so I'm going to completely switch up my entire amp digitally. Um, and for the most part, if you're comparing them side by side, yeah, you got a bunch of old guys that are going to be like, I can totally tell it sounds like shit. But to the normal person at a show, nobody can tell the difference. And I've had people ask me before after shows, they're like, what are you guys playing through? Your amps sound really good, and it's not because the tone is so that it sounds like a real amp, but I think it's because we have such a clean signal going to front of house that they're able to mix us in so much easier because you don't have any stage bleed, you don't have any of that extra, the drum sound cleaner because you're not getting a ton of room noise going in through the drum mics, and the vocals aren't feeding back because you don't have giant amp cabs pushing sound right at the vocal mic. And I think it's just we kind of ripped off our whole setup from Jimmy actually got me when Meshuggah played at the Rock Bar. It was kind of funny. He got me. I was like, dude, you got to get me backstage so I could talk to their sound guy and talk to their tech. And finally, at the end of the night, he waited till I got absolutely shithoused, by the way. And and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna bring you back to meet the band." And it was kind of funny because I walked back there, and the whole band's back there, and he's like, "Hey, this is Kimo," and everybody's like, "What's up?" And I was like, "I want to talk to your tech." I was just drunk, and I had a one track. I was like, later I was like, "Oh man, I was kind of a dick, or at least felt like I was a dick because I was just meeting all the members of Meshuggah, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't care. Where's your tech?" But
that's the stuff they remember, though.
But I asked them all the process of how they're doing everything, how they're doing their light show, and what gear they're using to run their in-ears and everything. So we kind of did a small version of that, and then we've slowly been building on it. And we finalized our entire rig, ready to play live shows, and then COVID hit, and so now all that gear's just been sitting in the jam room.
My personal view is, even though COVID's kind of screwed everything up, it actually really made things really good because all of the works that bands have been doing together, we've really come out with some really fantastic, anything from covers to original music. I mean, I've been very impressed.
Oh yeah, I'm loving all the collaborations, and bands want to put out content, and before their outlet was let's just go out and play shows, and now they've been kind of forced to find new avenues to get music out there and videos. And I know I know a lot of friends and people that are like video editors that are been having fun because they're like, oh yeah, so and so's band hit me up and they want me to piece together a little collaboration they did, and just it's been cool to see. And I think just in the last week I've seen friends, local bands around here, I've seen like 4 music videos get released in like the last week and a half or so. So everybody's putting out content right now, and it's great.
Yeah, I've seen more content now than we had previously.
Yeah, definitely, because people were so busy going out and playing shows. That's all they were doing. And now, and weirdly, it's you reach if you could do it right, you reach a bigger audience doing it this way.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the other kind of cool thing that's going on with like clubs. I mean, you see a lot of nightclubs that are kind of switching from analog to digital format as far as streaming and that kind of thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to play that Sepultura. I kind of saved it for us to watch it together for the first time. But I know Chris probably already watched it. The Sepultura "Tainted Love" cover. Did you see it yet?
Yep.
Of course.
I have not seen that one.
Okay.
It's pretty cool.
Do you have time, Kimo, to stay for a few minutes? I'm going to play it.
Yeah, I can hang out for a couple more minutes.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for all the information and coming to answer our questions and telling us the backstory about your video, and congratulations on the video and the new song. I mean, sounds killer.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to the next one. Like I said, you set the bar so high, but I'm sure you could beat it again.
We're going to try at least the same level.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. I mean, your work is incredible, just mind-blowing. And every time, like I said, just a little bit more. And this morning I clicked on it and was just blown away. Watched it like a couple times before this show. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so let me